Okay, so now we've got the deck drains done. I think the next job is this gas bottle box. So at the moment we've got this single gas bottle box, which is all very well, but there's no room for a spare. The spare can't be stored in the boat and it can't be stored outside because it's just going to get stolen. So what we need to do is measure up roughly the new box, do some cutting, get the plates cut roughly, and then we need to cut this box out, enlarge the hole in the deck, and then just make the new box fit basically. So now we've got the gas bottle down in there, we can see that recess is actually massive. I don't know what bottle it was made for in the Netherlands originally, probably something bigger than that, maybe even a 13 kilo, but we're just going to be using these small propane ones because we don't really want to be manhandling huge gas bottles on the tender to get them onto the boat. So we can make this box a lot smaller. Measured roughly, we can shorten it by about 15 centimetres. So we'll have a little measure up, do a scribble, and see what sort of box we can fit in here. It doesn't need to be all that much bigger, maybe another 9 or 10 inches across there. We'll have to move this fuel filler and that mooring bollard, but that's all straightforward. So let's have a little measure up. So I think what we need to do is restore about this is 3.5 centimetres. That just looks odd being cut right up to this piece, but it's only cut that far because it's gone so deep. When we make it shallower, the hole gets wider, so we can make this narrower. So I think we're going to restore this piece of deck 3 centimetres. We'll have the gas box inside that. We'll have a stainless steel lip of about an inch all the way around, and then we can put a folded stainless steel lid on top of it and bolt it down. So we'll have to move this diesel filler and that mooring bollard. That's not going to be a problem. And we're not going to have to make this too much bigger, I don't think. It's almost 25, 17. It's only going to be that wide, plus a couple of centimetres for movement. That mooring bollard I could probably... no, I probably want to move that a little bit just to clear the cover. Yeah, well, I mean, it'll definitely fit. It'll definitely fit in there, no problem. Okay, and on the inside of this gas box, we've also got this drain. So the gas box drain is required as part of the boat safety scheme to drain off any leaking gas, and it needs to drain to the outside. And there's an obvious problem with this, and that is that drain there, well, to begin with, is completely destroyed and totally ineffective. But that's also below the waterline, so that wouldn't drain at all. It's completely useless. So we're going to shorten that box by 15 centimetres, and that will enable us to put the drain at the same level as this, which we now know is above the waterline. So we'll sort that out at the same time. We'll fix that little hole in the side whilst the box is out, and we're going to have to cut some of this. We're just going to have to cut some of these out to make room for the new box. We'll probably add a bit of stiffening somewhere else, or if there's a lot of room behind the new box, we could put some narrower stringers along there. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in with this, because this is a real mess that somebody's made of this. and it'll be really nice to sort it out. Another thing we're going to have to put inside the box once we've built it is this thing. This is a bubble tester. So this is required in the boat safety scheme to see whether so what happens is this bulb is full of glycerine, and if there's a leak in your gas system, then you'll see bubbles coming up through the glycerine whilst everything is switched off. That'll tell you that gas is passing through and going somewhere. So that needs to be inside the box. So I'll have to make sufficient clearance so that you can get the gas bottles in and out without destroying the bubble tester and any other bulkhead fittings that are in there. Now, in the spirit of recycling, I've decided to make this gas bottle box from an old engine oil tank. 3mm steel, it's perfectly good inside, just need to give it a lick of paint on the outside. Okay, so what we've done, we've cut these two pieces out of that old oil tank so that essentially we're minimising the amount of welds we've got to make here, so saved a lot of work in doing that. And that's basically it, and that's just going to protrude above the deck by 3 centimetres. And then we can make a hatch for it a bit later on. So yesterday we spot welded all around this box, just some very tiny spot welds here, so when we do the proper welds we can just weld straight through them. I put a rim of fur tan around the box, as you can see there, that's gone off overnight to just get rid of the rust that was under there, because we're going to put some, I'm going to put these strips around the outside which will act as like a lip to sit in the hole when we cut the hole for it. So that's going to make everything a lot easier to install. We won't have to prop it up and weld it. We will cut a hole of the correct size, slide it in, and then it will sit on these lips for us to weld it in. So it will support its own weight. So that's the plan there. Just need to find some more of that to go along the sides. This came off the hull inside because we're going to increase the size of this to 40mm. This is 30mm. So I'll rip some more off in there and repurpose them out here. So let's just give this fur tan a little scrub to get off the excess there, and then we'll be ready to continue with this. Look at that. So the fur tan converts rust into a black oxide, but it does not touch clean metal. So we can see here the areas where there was some pitting and rust has gone black that I've not been able to scrub off, and then the rest of it is clean metal. So we know there's no active rust now under what we're going to weld over the top of it. So what we're going to do here, just to get some more pieces of steel for that gas box, is just rob a couple of these, supports from inside the boat, because I'm going to increase these from 30 to 40mm, because the 30s clearly aren't enough down the front, and they might as well all match. So I'm just going to rip a couple of these out, and then we can reuse those on the gas box. Okay, so this is what we've built. Pretty happy with that. Let's try it for size. Perfect. Plenty of room in there. It's nice and square. And we've got the lip around there, which it's going to sit on when I cut the hole for it. So it'll support its own weight whilst we're welding it in. And that's a nice sturdy rim to maybe put a rubber gasket around, and then a lid to sit on the top. Now the big question is whether I dare cut the hole today, because the skies are a bit heavy. 40% chance of rain today. Quite worried that I might not get the job done in time, because once I cut that hole, I then might have to adjust the box if it doesn't fit. And then when all that's done, I've then got to weld the box up and weld the hole up. And I need to do all that before the rain comes, or that boat is going to fill up with water, because the water off the decks just comes straight over the area where this gas bottle is. So I think possibly we need to do that on a better day, but I'll make that decision shortly. So I've decided to go for it. The weather forecast is not too bad. It's a bit windy, but 20% chance of rain doesn't look like anything on the radar, so we're going to go for this. We are going to go for this. I think the first thing we need to do is clear it all up with the SDS, get rid of all the rust and loose paint, then we can see what we have to cut that box out, and just go for it really. I've got a few hours before the end of the day, let's see what we can achieve. now we should be able to fit the box in. So we've now fitted the box in. We can see, just like the last box, that this corner conflicts with the hull. So we're going to have to do the same as they did after taking the piss out of their work. Going to have to cut a piece out the bottom and fold the edge of that panel in until we clear it. Hopefully we won't lose too much of the box so that it becomes useless, but we're just going to have to see. We might lose a couple of centimetres right in the bottom. Right. Okay, well, after adjusting that corner, look, we've tapered it in at the end. It does now clear. In fact, it clears by a huge amount. It's deceiving when it's all sort of twisted and, you know, not where it should be. It's deceiving just how little adjustment it needed when it looked like it needed a lot of adjustment. But anyway, so there we are. So that's now sitting where it should be. We need to just patch around this now. We're just going to begin to cut some steel and then start to weld. Right, so I'm sorry I didn't film all this, but time was of the essence today. I wanted to get this in. Unfortunately, I didn't do it all today, but we have managed to cut all the little pieces to fill this in and tack weld them in place. So now we're just left with the hole that we need for the box, which is there. So tomorrow we will weld the whole lot up and get that in. Okay, so this is really difficult out here welding in this wind because it's blowing my gas away, so I've used this little cup to place over the area I'm welding just to sort of stop the wind getting to it, and I don't know, I've made good enough weld there. So we're just going to carry on like that and have a clean up afterwards and fill any holes and just sort of get on with it really. Okay, so we've had a right day on this job. We've managed to weld all around it, ground the welds back. Just going to have one final tidy up here and then just put a bit of primer around it, and then I need to go and weld this box before we put the box in, and weld that in place. I've had to sort of make a real nice job of tidying up the welds down that side, because of course that box is going to come so close to the edge I won't be able to get a tool in to do it, so I'm having to make a really good job of that at this stage. So let's just have a final tidy up. So I'm told these things are very good. Saber Cut Revolution Rapid. They're also very expensive, so how am I going to get that out of there? Doesn't seem like a very sensible thing to do, actually. I don't want to get that stuck. Oh well, we'll give it a go. So we've done all the welding on the box, welded all along the lip, welded all down the sides and flattened those off because they were a bit grim. Outside welding, it's just horrible. So yeah, we welded all around. Now we're just going to clean this up so that we can put some Furtan on this evening, and then maybe tomorrow, I don't know, put some maybe blackjack on it, because it's only, you know, going in the hull area. Just put some blackjack on it to stop it rusting in future, and then weld it in at the top. It's complete. I'm going to carry on with this, but don't think we'll be using these anymore. I mean, who'd have thought that a plastic Brillo pad would be better at getting this paint and rust off than this wire wheel. But that doesn't even touch it, that just spins on the surface. This does bite into it, but these are about £4 or £5 each, so there's no way we'll be using those. We'll try a flap disc. Flap disc. So the flap disc was pretty good. Did the whole box apart from that that first small side, and there's still some material on it, and they're really cheap. So I'm going to get loads more of those because that's obviously the way to go. And now I'm just going to fur tan this box and then leave it overnight, and tomorrow we'll carry on again. Good morning. It's the third day now we've spent messing around with this gas box. I just wanted to show you what it did overnight whilst we left it with the fur tan. I'm not working on the boat this morning. I've got to go out, but we'll be back on it either later today or tomorrow now. It's gone lovely and black. And then up on the deck. Again, that's all gone black. Pretty nice job we made of that, actually. Certainly good enough. So yeah, the next stage is wash that fur tan off of that box. I think I'm probably going to put black acid etch primer on it rather than blackjack, because when I slide it through that deck, the blackjack would scrape off and then it would be unprotected. So we'll put some spray paint on it, then we can blackjack it once it's in place. But yeah, what an amazing day it is today. There she is in all her glory. Right, see you later. We're back. Right, now let's give this a quick wash down to remove this excess fur tan. Then we'll dry this out, give it a spray of black primer, and then it'll be ready for us to drop into that hole and weld in place. This is just normal soap and water. This fur tan is water based, so basically like a black powder, and it's sticky in places if there's any that hasn't been used on rust. So where you put it on clean metal, it'll just sort of dry out, whereas you put it on rust, it will turn into a black powder. I'm not sponsored by Furtan, it's just a product I've used for many years that works really well. It's just very quick to apply and very effective at what it does. But it does create this jet black powder. We've got some in this bowl. I don't know whether you can see that, but the powder has settled out of the water. So it's just a black powder in the bottom and clean water on the top. There's the black powder coming through. So this is what it looks like up here now. We've washed this sort of Furtan powder off, so we're just back to the bare treated steel now. It's all turned out really nice actually, really happy with that. Bit of a fluke in its positioning as well. It's sort of 20mm from out of the corner there, 20mm there, and that's just an accident, but it's only about 25mm from the side there, so it's in a nice uniform position. Now we're just going to spray some grey primer on this just to protect it until we weld this tank in. Okay, this is purely to protect it from the weather, you know, until we come to paint it later on. We'll get all of this off then. It's literally just to stop it flash rusting. With the box, we're just going to put some black primer, the same type of primer, the acid etch primer as I used on the deck. I'm just going to put this on the back of this box because we won't be able to get to this once it's in, and I'm worried that the blackjack will just scratch off as it goes through the hole. So we're just going to spray this, and then what we can get to with the roller wheel blackjack once it's in, but what we can't get to won't matter because at least it'll have some of this on. We're just going to do this backside. I'm not doing the rest of it. We'll deal with that once that's in the boat. Here we are again. So today we're going to fix this gas bolt drain. so that that's already welded in when we get it inside. We haven't got to mess about in there with it. And then get this tank into that deck and weld it in before the rain comes, because we've got rain forecast for the next 2 days. So that's the plan. Let's get on with it. So the drain fitting on the gas bottle box, I checked on the boat safety scheme, and it says this drain needs to be of a certain size. I think it equated to about 1/2 inch. This is 3/4 inch pipe work, so we know that's big enough. Oh, we've got some rain appearing already. And it needs to be within 30 mil of the bottom of the tank, which is easy. We're just going to do that. We'll just do it 10 mil, so we've got somewhere there to put the weld. I've marked roughly where it needs to go there, so let's get this drawn on, ground out. I don't have a drill bit big enough, so we're going to go through it with the die grinder. There we are. I've seen worse. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if it fits. Beautiful. so we've welded around 3 sides of it. Got a little bit of cleaning up to do there, but they're good enough for this. On the back we can't get down there, so we're going to weld that inside, and then when we paint that'll all be sealed from the outside anyway. So I think we'll just clean this up now, and then we'll go inside and weld that back seam. So I've got a little tidy up around here. By tidy up I don't mean ground the welds back, I just took off some of the high spots like there, so that when we put a nice bead of filler around there, that'll be a really smooth sweeping join up the side of the box there, just so that water can bead off a lot easier than just painting over a weld. Couldn't weld down the back, so we've welded down the back inside, and we're just going to run a row of like Sikaflex down the back of that when it's cooled down a bit. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I'm just now going to spray this with some primer just to keep the rain out, since it's all clean steel. That'll just protect it until we're ready to paint it properly. Now the boat safety scheme just said that fitting had to be less than 30mm from the bottom of the box, which it is. Runs need to go straight down. I'll call that straight down, and be kept as short as possible. So I've put that fitting on there, so we can just sort of hold that there and estimate where we might want that fitting to go through. I mean, I would think right where that mark is there, to be honest. It's as good as. We could bring it a bit closer, I suppose. Bring it a bit closer. Yeah, just about there. It doesn't really matter where it goes. Right. Come on. Whilst we're at it, we'll just grind off this this knackered fitting, and that'll be ready to patch. Be ready to patch soon. I welded down. I didn't bother filming it because it's exactly the same as the deck drains. You've already seen that. So just need to connect this up now. That'll do you. The stud lock will lock that fitting in position. We don't need to tighten that up anymore. That's like super glue. Okay, that's a great thing with these type of fittings. I've used these so that if the hoses do get blocked, then we can just unscrew them from inside, clean them out and screw them back onto the fittings. Don't need any tools or anything, they just unscrew by hand. There's a rubber seal inside them to make them watertight. Right. Is that right? Right enough. So that's the end of this episode. Thank you for watching. And in the next episode, I think we might start on these cabin windows. See you in the next episode.